Hello and welcome to this edition of Money in Motion video blog. This is Dan Perkins and thanks for watching. Well, we're going to talk about one thing today and one thing only, and that's oil. And that's a huge subject that can't be covered just in one video. We've seen a significant decline in the price of oil from the day after, actually the day of Thanksgiving till currently. As of this recording, which was Monday afternoon, the 15th of December, crude oil is trading around $56 a barrel. About 5 months ago, it was trading at 100. So crude oil has dropped about 46% since the end of June. Some people think it can go further, another $7 down to 45. The Saudis thought that 60 would hold, but it didn't. And so what we have is a free fall that started in the commodities markets in oil and spread to other commodities. Gold, silver, grains, everything has come off its 6 months highs. And we have now gasoline in Oklahoma City selling, this was last week when I was in Dallas, Texas, selling under $2 a barrel. Given that it slid even more, I'm guessing it's got to be close to 185 to 190. I think we're headed towards the national average of less than $2 probably sometime in January, if there isn't a significant reversal. This chart shows you just how dramatic the decline in oil has been, and in the energy sector, which obviously affects us because we have a lot of pipeline companies and we have oil and natural gas in the ground. We do not have any drillers. We don't have any speculative drillers. We don't run any junk bonds in highly leveraged drillers. We're not in that piece of the business. It's not to say that our portfolios aren't down, but in many cases they're still going to be at least at this level unless we see another downtick in the markets between now and the end of the year. I would expect the portfolios to probably finish close to positive for the year. The implication of a declining oil price has tremendous both domestic and geopolitical advantages for the United States. I talked about those a little bit in my last video, but I want to reiterate what's going on. You may recall from my last video that I said for every 1 cent decline in a gallon of gasoline at the pump, it adds $1.4 billion to the U.S. economy. Given where you live, you can see how much the price of gasoline has dropped in your community. So what's happening is that people are getting a raise without getting a raise because their expenditures for energy is declining and declining rapidly. But the prices at the pump are behind what's happened in the crude oil markets. It's going to take a while for them to catch up. That's why I think we'll be under $2 on a national average, maybe $2.10 by sometime in the month of January. The implications are not just the prices at the pump. So much of what we buy in this country, everything from clothes we wear to cars we drive to the roads we ride on, are derived from petrochemicals which come from crude oil. We even have medicines coming from petrochemicals. As the cost of the raw stock declines, the price should stabilize for the finished goods or go down. For example, let's look at a farmer who's buying diesel fuel to run his tractors and he's buying natural gas-based fertilizers for his crops. His costs into the springs are going to be dramatically lower than they were last year. What I'm saying is that I believe that we are headed into a deflationary spiral. I don't know how steep the spiral is going to be, but I would expect that the next consumer price report coming out, I think on Thursday, we would see a negative CPI, meaning that prices have started to fall. We have not seen the full impact of the significant price decline in the last 30 days. That will show up in the December CPI, which we'll get sometime in mid-January. So as these things work through the system, we're going to see prices are going to start to come down. And as a result, with a deflationary spiral, because of the lower cost of energy, We're going to see volatility continue both in the stock markets, whether that's the energy sector, and now over into the industrials and the other sides of the investment spectrum. People are trying to figure out where is the opportunity to play in a declining energy and what is the best position to put yourself in for the eventual reversal of energy sometime in the future. These are all things that I think about a lot and trying to figure out what's the best thing to do to position the portfolios for you, my clients. I do believe that there is a geopolitical issue here happening, and that is that we could be creating a new paradigm shift that would cause the destruction of OPEC, which in my opinion would not be a bad thing. What's going on is that the Saudi Arabians at the Vienna conference on Thanksgiving Day decided not to cut production. That day, crude oil fell $4 a barrel plus. Now, we have a situation where there are 12 to 13 nations that are in the OPEC cartel. Some of them are in serious trouble. For example, Venezuela, which has estimated to be 20% of the world's petroleum reserves, is now an importing nation because after the regime change, they don't really know how to process the oil, and no American oil company or any oil company around the world would want to go into Venezuela to assist them because they would be afraid that the government would nationalize it. So what's happened is there's no expertise left, and as a result, they're not refining as much, and they have to import oil. Inflation in Venezuela is about 57% at the moment. Then we take the country of Iran, our nemesis at the negotiating table. That country reported recently that in order to make its balance its budget for 2014 and 15, they need $148 a barrel for crude oil. That's not going to happen. So what's happening is that they're being forced to dip into their $56 billion sovereign wealth fund. That's not going to last very long. In fact, many of the other OPEC nations beyond Saudi Arabia have even smaller sovereign wealth funds. So as the revenues decline from the sale of crude oil, they have less and less money to take care of their people. Now, the Congress, after the first of the year, is going to be discussing the lifting of the ban of export of crude oil. I think that creates, if we do that, that creates an opportunity for the U.S. to become one of the largest exporters of oil and natural gas. And one of our most immediate significant opportunities will be with Western Europe, because politically, if we take the oil and natural gas supply away from Mr. Putin in Russia that the Western Europe is getting and provide it to them on a regular basis, Mr. Putin's economy, which is in serious trouble, and it is an energy-based economy, will come tumbling down, and possibly him with it. The Russian ruble is off over 50% in the last 12 months against the dollar. In addition, as more and more countries in the OPEC cartel are involved in, with Saudi Arabia, this game of chicken, as I did in a recent op-ed piece, to see whether or not America will stop the production of oil and natural gas and the exploration of oil and natural gas and alternative energy. I don't think we will. And if we don't, and then we get the ban lifted, we have a market that we can go out and compete with the OPEC cartels in the marketplace and take market share away from them for our American oil companies, which will put people to work, which will make our economy grow. And then when oil prices reverse themselves and they start to go up, instead of us sending an amount equal to the Pentagon's budget a year to Saudi Arabia and other Middle Eastern countries, it will stay right in the United States. So we are at a very significant moment in time. I know it's fun to watch and see what's going on at the pump, but there are significant both market and world market and political implications of what's happening here with crude oil. Lots more to come on this story, and I'll continue to watch it and let you know what my thoughts are as I see more things happening. So thanks for watching, and as always, if you have questions, I know you have concerns about the portfolios, but I think we're fine. Excuse me. Please feel free to give me a call. And if I don't talk to you again before Christmas, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. This is Dan Perkins. Thanks for watching.